help us with our recap, we have in studio today BYU's special teams and offensive coordinators. We'll be visiting with Aaron Roderick and Kelly Papinga, and we visit with, to start things off, the offensive side of the ball and the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, Aaron Roderick. Coach, good to see you once again.
Good to see you.
All right, so far so good at 2-0 on the year. General thoughts on what you've seen from your offense with a true freshman quarterback at the helm through 2 games.
Well, it feels great to be 2-0. First of all, every win is hard to get. You have to earn all of them, and really happy with how Bears played so far. I thought he made really good decisions the other night. A big part of our game plan was to take care of the football and not give their offense anything cheap. You know, we knew that their offense wouldn't be able to drive the ball on our defense all night as long as we don't give them any short fields, and thought our players did a great job taking care of the football. And, well, 0 giveaways from the offense in 2 weeks. Yeah, and if we have no turnovers, we're always going to have a chance to win. You know, the game tonight was a little bit choppy and at times a little bit ugly, but ultimately we took care of the football, we controlled the line of scrimmage, and you end up, you know, the game's not close. Yeah. Stanford faced a run-and-shoot offense in its opener at Hawaii. Yeah. So how much did you really know about what to expect defensively from a Cardinal team that was also coming off a bye week on top of that? Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. That was a huge challenge. Yeah, the Hawaii film really told us nothing because of run-and-shoot offense. So we tried to prepare for Sac State. The D coordinator came from Sac State. We watched Sac State's film last year, and then Stanford ran a completely different defense. It was basically just the whole game was nothing that we really prepared for, and so we had to make some adjustments. At one point, we just went to you know, just basic, simple plays that we could execute against anything, and we had the lead. We just said, let's get out of here with a win, and so that's what we did. So you're still communicating with the rookie quarterback for the first time under live fire, basically. He got 30 snaps the week before. Yeah. When you see what you see, how do you feel like he adjusted and you just adjusted as a group figuring that out? I thought Bear did a great job. I mean, I know, you know, the stats aren't super impressive or anything like that, but taking care of the football against that type of pressure, they were blitzing almost every play the other night. They brought more corner blitzes in one game than he did the entire season last year at Sac State. Just things like that, you got a true freshman out there. I was really impressed. He got hit pretty hard a couple times and hangs onto the ball. And he never put the ball in jeopardy. There weren't any throws where he's throwing it to the other team or anything like that. I just, you know, we'll just keep getting a little bit better every week, and we'll be where we want to be. Let's go to that first drive of the game, because you gained a couple of first downs on that drive. You got a 4th down conversion on the series as well. Yeah. It did get to a second 4th down try, and Stanford did blitz and got the turnover on downs. Yeah, and unfortunately that 4th and 6 we were going for, it was a penalty that set us back. If we wouldn't have had that penalty, you know, but it's still a solid, you know, opportunity there to go for it on 4th and 6, and we just, you know, unfortunately we didn't execute. Is this from that first drive? No, this is later. Yeah, that doesn't look familiar to me. Later. Yeah, so it was a turnover on downs first drive. Second drive of the game resulted in your first touchdown of the game. This was a 6-play, 85-yard possession. Big plays on the drive. A 47-yard run from L.J. Martin, 17-yard catch and run from Sione Moa, then the touchdown run from Bear Bachmeier. Yeah, the big run by L.J., play was perfectly blocked. I mean, everybody was on their blocks there. And big run, that really got us moving. I think we had another run the next play for about 11 yards, then we completed this pass to Sione, which was a good play. And then Bear, this was a QB run all the way, and Bear did a nice job running over their middle linebacker at the goal line. All right, so BYU has its first touchdown, and now that's, by the way, speaking of LJ, that's 3 rushes of 44 yards or more through his first 3 games. He didn't have a 40-yard run all of last season. Yeah. Back-to-back 100-yard rushing games. He had only 2 of those in his entire first 2 seasons. He just keeps getting better and better. Yeah, and if we can keep getting LJ over 100 yards a game, we're going to have, and no turnovers, we're going to be really hard to beat. And well, you know, that's where everything starts for us, is just get him going, get our run game going. That's when the play-action pass opens up. And we're a tough team to beat if we do those things. You're going to use Sione, you're going to use other backs, but does he kind of fit the mold of a workhorse if you want to go that way? Yeah, and he's an every down player that can do everything. He's a good run. He's obviously a great ball carrier. He's a good receiver. He's an excellent blocker, and he's big enough and physical enough to carry the ball 20 times a game. So we want to keep doing that.
All right, thanks to a Raider DeMooney pick, your third drive starts at the Stanford 18-yard line. You had to settle for a Will Ferrin field goal there, but you're in the game now 2 for 2 in the red zone, and you were perfect on the night in the red zone, and you remained perfect on the season in the red zone.
Yeah, so that's a double-edged sword. We're perfect at points in the red zone. We felt like 2 touchdowns in 6 chances was not good enough. So we want to improve there, but as long as we're getting points every time we're down there and we're not giving the other team anything cheap, we'll probably win most of our games, if not all.
Defense gave BYU a short field for your next drive. You started at the Stanford 5 on that one. A questionable penalty took a touchdown away here. Then a sack on a 3rd and goal. End up settling for another Will Ferrin field goal. But that was a tough one to have to take because I thought it was blocked well. They called a hold on the edge.
After watching the film, I don't know what I would tell those guys to do differently. They both had their hands inside. It's exactly the technique you would teach for both of these guys, especially key and need. I mean, that's a perfect block. So yeah, just that one didn't go our way. Tough deal. But
yeah, they called it on 45 there, right? He's riding his block. He's not prohibiting an upfield rush. It's just yeah. And then you see what happens on the sack.
Stanford brought a really nice blitz there that we had not ever seen before. It was a very well-designed pressure that they had not shown that at all at Sac State, and they got us on that one. That was a good play by them.
Safety put BYU up 14-0. After the safety kickoff, you get the ball from midfield. Another holding penalty hurt the drive there. Another possession with good field position, just not the great result you wanted.
Yeah, and like I said, that's just we were disappointed in squandering some good field position, and I think it's a great opportunity for our players to learn a lesson and a win. You know, we have to do better with those situations, and it was a perfect formula for a letdown in a way. You know, we win 69-0 the week before, feeling pretty good about ourselves. Stanford had a bye week, and they'd lost to Hawaii. They came in with a great plan, and our players, I think we have to learn to respect the game and be ready to play every single week. We're going to get everybody's best every week.
One quick note about right before the half, because you got one final possession to run your 2-minute. Yeah. A sack backed you up to the Stanford 46. The decision was made to punt to end the half. Kalani told us post-game that if he could do it over again, he might just let the clock run down and let Will try, I think, what would have been a 63-yarder. But it did get you into position. You ran some good 2-minute plays there. Yeah, we did. We had a nice 2-minute drive going there, and unfortunately we got sacked, which knocked us back in pretty far in field goal range. And I think one of Bear's only mistakes of the game was taking that sack in 2-minute. He could have found a check down. I felt like it wasn't the protection wasn't terrible. He just had to hold on to it a little too long. We had a check down opportunity there, but did some really good things in that 2 minutes. It's 2 games in a row where we've gotten some 2-minute experience for him, and I know that at some point there's going to be an end of game 2-minute where these experiences are going to pay off, and taking that sack right there is one that I think he'll learn from, and he'll find a check down next time. Did you think about that field goal situation, by the way? I did, yeah. I tried to communicate to Kalani, but he'd already called timeout. So that's another where the coaching staff, we can next time we can handle that and maybe give Will a shot. Yeah, because once the timeout's called there, well, there's probably a little too much time left. Yeah. But if you run it down to the end, then you kick and it's the last play of the half. Run it down to 3, and then yeah. All right, you get to halftime up 14-0. In the Kalani Sitake era, BYU's now 18-0 at home with a lead of 14 or more. That lead would hold up. What were your thoughts as you took the elevator down from the booth at the break? Well, we felt like we were in control. A little bit disappointed in a couple of the things that had happened in the first half, but 14-0 against a team who's really struggling on offense. And so what we did is we went into halftime and talked about how defensively we were getting a lot of pressure, a lot of different looks, things that kind of weren't part of our game plan. So we came back out in the second half with just, hey, let's run some base plays that are in day one in fall camp, day one in spring ball, and let's just make sure we take good care of the ball in the second half. And it might not be pretty, but we're going to get out of here with a win. And so that was kind of the point at halftime. All right, wrapping up our recap of the Stanford game with Coach Aaron Roderick. When we headed to break, BYU had a 14-0 lead at halftime. You got the ball to open the second half. Another long drive, 13 plays, 72 yards. You get a 1st and goal from the 10, a 3rd and goal from the 3. You ran that little inside screen that's worked a lot for you at that area of the field. the connection is just a little off between Bear and Chase.
Yeah, yeah, just a little off. You know, that play's been really good for us.
It has.
Years. We've scored a bunch of touchdowns on it, and just didn't execute well enough.
That's one of those, you do like that area of the field, though. I mean, again, you said that's one of your staples, right?
It's a hard play to stop. Even, you know, it's a tough play to stop. If you catch that ball, even if there's someone there to tackle you, usually your momentum's going to get you across the goal line, and we just got to do a little better there.
But you get another Will Farron field goal, another red zone conversion, 17-0 Cougs. You get one more drive, and it's a touchdown drive. The drive was set up by a great Tiger Bachmeier punt return. We're going to see 2 plays in the scoring drive. Chase Roberts' catch setting up a Sione Moa touchdown run, yeah, you're scoring more points.
Yeah, that was a great completion there in the low red zone there on the slant to Chase. And Bear, it's an RPO where Bear has the choice to either hand it off or throw to Chase, and he made a nice play. And then just a good tough run here by Sione, well blocked. And he's, you know, when you get that close to the goal line, though, you can block everybody except there's always going to be a couple guys because the quarterback's not blocking anybody and the ball carrier's not blocking anyone. So usually you're going to have to run over somebody to get it in the end zone.
All right, so you're up 24-0 now after 3. You'd get only one more drive, but it did result in your longest pass play of the day. So we'll look at that. Let's fire up Bear to Chase for 41 yards. This came in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, we just felt like it was time for some play action, take a shot. And we had, like I mentioned earlier, we had purposely were really careful with the football, but we felt like this play action was dialed up as we were running it a lot. Their safeties were getting really low. And so we took a play action shot, excellent protection. Chase ran a perfect route, and Bear threw a perfect ball.
And then 3 plays later, it was Bear Bachmeier to Carson Ryan, and Carson gets you down to the 5-yard line. It is so nice to have that weapon in the offense right now.
That was an excellent 3rd down conversion. It was 3rd and 6, and Carson ran a really good route one-on-one against their safety, and just outstanding route and run and catch after.
There's Carson Ryan. Is he being implemented? Is he fitting in exactly the way you thought he would right now?
He is. So far, so good. I mean, he's an every down player. And, you know, maybe what you don't notice is what a good blocker he is in our run game. He is out there doing the dirty work. Just he's an old lineman that can run routes and catch the ball. I mean, he's a tough guy.
Let's backtrack a minute to, I mentioned Kean Need in the earlier segment. You didn't get him in the first game, but he came back, and he'll be right in the mix.
Yes, and Kean played very well. He's a physical guy. Our 4th and 1 in the first possession, I mean, he moved a defensive end 3 or 4 yards down the field, he's gonna be a big contributor this season. We love his physicality.
Okay, so we saw Carson Ryan get you to the 5. There was a 2nd and goal from the 5. L.J. Martin takes the handoff, and you get a pile pusher. The official ruled progress stopped shy of the goal line. I thought calling it live it was going to be a touchdown. I kept waiting for the signal. It never came.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. Our game video of the end zone camera.
Yeah.
His whole body's across the line. I don't know why it's not a touchdown, but
and it was still moving.
He was laying,
how do you say in there that he didn't cross?
He was laying in the end zone.
I
don't know. Yeah.
And it was a tough break because on the next play there's a false start, and so now you're sitting at a 3rd and 6 when you were a foot away from the goal line, and what I thought was already a touchdown.
Yeah, really, we had a weird rhythm to that. It took them a while to spot the ball. We had a big personnel group out there and a motion on the play, and got a little antsy, and we have to handle that adversity better right there. We were disappointed about not scoring, but we got to bounce back and punch the ball in. Instead, we went backwards with a penalty that was costly. But the overall number of penalties in the game wasn't, it was like you could live with it, but the penalties we had were costly moments, you know, things that cost us touchdowns and end up getting a field goal. And so we have to, you know, be penalties of aggression we can live with, a holding penalty, something like that, but those what I call administrative penalties, we have to eliminate those.
Absolutely. Well, you settle for another field goal, 27-3 BYU, and that's your final. Wins are hard to get. We always talk about that on this show, and you have 2 in 2 games.
Yeah, and you know, this reminded me a little bit of the SMU game last year, where we're in game 2. We didn't play as well as we would have liked on offense, but in that game we had a couple turnovers that cost us. In this game, you know, it wasn't fancy or, you know, it wasn't flashy, but I thought what was really pleasing to me was we were physical and we took care of the football. And if we do those 2 things, we're going to be really tough to beat. And
like last year, you went from an FCS opponent in the first game to an upgrade in talent, ACC in game 2, both years. You saw that's a good physical team where they need to be.
For sure. I mean, every one of these teams is well coached and they're going to have good players, and there's no easy wins, man. You have to go out and earn it, and we controlled the game in one good sound win.
You commented a bit on him earlier, but how do you think Bear Bachmeier performed in going the full 60 for his first time as a college quarterback?
I think he's playing very well. I know the stats are going to come as he grows, and we get into games where we're going to have to open it up a little more, down the road. That's coming. We're not going to be able to just, there's going to be games where we're going to have to throw the ball more, and as he grows, we'll just keep getting better and better. And right now, he's right on schedule.
How is he at handling the in-helmet communication and processing and synthesizing at a hopefully a high rate for you?
Outstanding. Yeah. In fact, in practice, in games, I say the play multiple times. In practice, I make a point of just saying it once, and just to test him, and I'll just say the play call once. And sometimes they're pretty wordy play calls, and I'll say it one time, and he gets it. And so I'll keep testing him like that in practice, and then, of course, in the games, I repeat it a few times.
Is that more of a safety net in the game?
Yeah, well, it's a safety net just to make sure he has it, and it's also for our signalers. Because some of our plays we huddle and some of them we signal, and so the signal guys need to hear it more than once usually. Okay,
let's some overall real positive things through 2 games. 12 for 12, I think, in red zone. No giveaways, we've talked about, and running the football really, really well, which you said was a real key part to start the year. You thought you ended the year well running it. You began the ball began the season running the ball really well.
Yeah, everything starts with us being physical in the run game, and we'll keep that will remain our identity all year. And then the passing game is we've been fairly efficient so far. We haven't really unleashed it yet, and we haven't needed to be as aggressive as we'll have to be in some other games. So obviously the first game we didn't need it at all. This second game here we were in control, so we wanted to be super smart. And as we progress, it's going to open up more and more.
Because I'm sure some folks are wondering, are you babying Bear Bachmeier because he's a young quarterback? That's why it's not really being unleashed yet. But maybe that may not always be it.
Well, if you think about last season, we did almost the same thing with Jake. Early in the year, we played it pretty conservative, pretty safe, and then as he got more experience and he started to play well, we opened it up a little more. And also the quality of the opponents. You get into conference play, you're not going to win just being conservative all the time. So it's a work in progress. The Bear is a work in progress, and our offense is as well.
But if it comes time, like let's say, and we'll talk about ECU here in a bit in the next segment. That's a team that loves to throw a lot. If this thing were to get a little up and down, you're confident that he can do what you need to do throwing the football.
Absolutely. Yeah, he can make all the throws we need him to make.
Before we look ahead, one final look back at the Stanford game as we get offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick's player of the game from the Stanford Cardinal game. So who'd you like on offense on Saturday night?
I thought LJ played another great game, and just can't say enough good things about what he does for our team. It's obvious what a good runner he is. But he's lead blocking for Sione on a couple run plays, excellent pass protector and receiver. He had a screen pass the other night where we lined him up basically as a wide receiver and threw him a screen. He does it all, and he's an outstanding member of our program in every way.
All right, LJ Martin, offensive player of the game from Stanford. The team routine for the bye week, what's it going to look like this week?
We're going to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and get going on our East Carolina game plan. They have a very good defense. They're one of the best defenses in the country, and we have to go on the road and play a night game. And everything we've heard is it's going to be a hostile environment, and so we have to get our game plan going and see if we can go out there and get a win.
How much of this week is rest and recovery, and how much is like the hard work of a game week typically?
Try to do both. It's early enough in the season that we can still put in some hard work. So Tuesday and Wednesday will be tough physical practices, and then Thursday will be a little lighter, and then they'll get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then we'll get going again next week.
Okay, we'll not have a Coordinator's Corner show next week, so we'll do a sneak peek at ECU today. And this preview of the Pirates is brought to you by Intermountain Health, official medical provider for BYU Athletics. ECU, 1-1. They lost at NC State, had a crack at that game in the opener, and then they beat an FCS team, Campbell, 56-3 on Saturday.
Yeah, they should have won that NC State game. They got off to a bad start. NC State got some easy, couple easy points early in the game, or kind of one lucky break, and then after that they couldn't do anything. East Carolina is very good defensively, and I think their offenses took a big step forward last week for them, scored a bunch of points against an FCS team. But we definitely have our work cut out for us. They have athletes, they've got speed everywhere, and on defense they're extremely multiple. They blitz from every blitz you can think of. They have it, and
well, like Stanford did.
It's gonna be a blitz.
That's good prep then for.
It will be. It'll be a blitz fest, I'm expecting.
They're allowing only 54.5 rush yards per game through 2 games, and you guys are piling up the yards on the ground right now.
Yeah, that'll be a huge thing. We have to go out there and be able to establish the run against whatever it is they bring.
ECU is 2-1 all-time against BYU, and again, they'll be at Coastal Carolina this Saturday. Coach Roderick, thanks again for the recap of Stanford. Good luck this week and getting ready for ECU.
Thanks for having me.